So now from this lecture onwards, we're going to start with the CSS part of the project. So for that, we need to use the standard.cs file. So instead of that, first I'm going to select the universal selector, which will be used to actually reset the default styling of the browser. So here I'm going to change the margin to 0, then padding to actually 0 as well. And after that, I will be here resizing the box sizing. And then I need to specify the box sizing to actually border box. So you can see now the default styling of the browser is actually changed. Then I'm going to select the body element. And inside the body, first I'm going to change the font family to sans serif, and then I will be here changing the background color to actually like this particular one, which is /FD, means #FD, F1 and F9. If I control save it, then you can see we get this light pinkish color. After that, I need to select the container so that we can actually create the card like structure, means a card like right now you can see this white card. Okay, so here I will be adding the container, and then I need to start its block of the code because it is a class selector. So I need to specify the dot in front of the container word, and after that I need to specify the max width. So max width is going to like 600 pixel. Okay, and then I need to specify the margin, which is going to be like here 300 pixel, and then from left and right it is going to be like auto. And after that I will be here specifying the padding. So padding is going to be like 20 pixel, and then I need to specify the text align property, which is going to be like center, not this type, which is like center. And then I need to specify the background color, which is going to hashtag 3 times F. And then I need to specify the border radius, which is going to be like 10 pixel. Okay, and then I need to specify the box shadow. So box shadow is going to like 0 0, and then I need to specify the 10 pixel. Then RGBA, then 0 0 0, and alpha is going to like 0.1. Control save it, and nothing is actually happened. So I think I have actually spelled it wrong. Container, so here I don't need to specify T, it is actually our container. So now you can see finally we get the card like structure. Okay, so after that I need to specify the code for the h1 element. So I'm going to directly selecting the selector, means the tags by their name, because it is actually a small project. All right, so here I'm going to specify the font size, which is going to like 2 rem units, and then I need to specify the margin bottom property, which is going to be like 220 pixel. Okay, and then I need to specify the input type. Then I need to start its block of the code. So here width is going to be like 100%, and then I need to specify the padding, which is going to like 10 pixel. And it's this point of time I'm going to specify the margin bottom to actually 20 pixel, and then I need to specify the border. Border is going to be like 1 pixel solid border, and then I need to specify the hash symbol 3 times C. And after that I need to specify the border radius, which is basically for the roundness. For the input type, it is going to be like 5 pixel. So you can see now we get the rounded corners to the input type. If you want a more roundness, then you can actually increase it to 25 pixel. Then you can see we get a complete round, but I want a 5 pixel roundness. Okay, and after that I need to specify the font size. So font size is going to be like 1 rem units. So if I actually enter their font, then you can see means a text, then you can see it's actually displaying a little bigger. After that I need to specify the code for the button, because right now the button looks very simple. So here I'm going to select the button, then you need to start its block of the code. The first thing is I'm going to specify the padding property. So padding from top and bottom is going to be like 10 pixel, and from left and right it's going to be 30 pixel. Control save it. Now I want to specify a 20 pixel from left and right. Okay, after that I'm going to specify the background color. So background color is going to be like hash symbol 2 times 0 7 BFF. Control save it, then you can see we get the blue color to the button. Then I need to specify the text color, which is going to be like 3 times F. After that I need to specify the border, which is going to be none. Then outline, which is going to be none, and after that I'm going to specify the font size, which is going to be like 1 rem units, and then I need to specify the cursor to pointer. Alright, so you can see now we get the button. So if I want to rounded corners to the button, so I need to specify the border radius to this as well, which is going to be 5 pixel. So now we get the rounded corners to the button. Okay, after that I need to add the code for the paragraph element, which will be used to display the result. So I just need to simply define three properties. The first is going to be like font size, which is going to be like 1.2 RAM units. Okay, and then I need to specify the font weight, which is going to be like bold. And after that, I'm going to specify the margin top, which is going to be like 20 pixel. Control save it. Then if I actually enter here some text like this is the result, okay, then you can see the paragraph element will be look like this. Okay, so I'm going to simply remove it from here because I want to update the value of the paragraph element dynamically when the number is entered inside the input type, and then the user clicks the button, which is the check button. Then on the basis of the entered value on the input type, I want to display the result inside the paragraph element. Alright, so that marks the completion of the CSS part for this particular project, which is the prime number checker application. So this is the final version of the application, and this is the our version of the application. So from next lecture onwards, we're going to start with the JavaScript so that when we click on the button, we want to perform the prime number checker logic. So now it's time to start with the JavaScript part of the project. So for that, we need to use the script.js file. Inside of this particular script.js file, first, we need to get the references of all of these HTML elements inside the JavaScript variable. So the first thing is here I will be using the document dot add event listener. So I'm going to add the listener to the entire document. So we want to listen to the DOM content loaded listener. And here I will be calling a function. So function means I am specifying a function and then I need to start its block of the code. Alright. And after that, inside of this particular content loaded means once the content loaded, then which is the DOM content loaded, then I'm going to here actually initialize the variables, that is number input, which is basically going to hold the input value of this particular number. So here it is like number input is equal to document, not this URI, it is actually like document, that is this particular one, document dot, and then we need to use the get element by id. So I need to actually select the elements on the basis of their ids. So here I need to specify the id name. So if I come back to the index.html, so input type, the id of the input type is actually number input. So I'm going to copy the number input, the name of the id, and I'm going to paste it inside this particular get element by id. Similarly, I'm going to create two more copies of this particular line of the code, and I'm going to simply here change the name of the variable to like check button. And then this particular one is going to be like result message. Alright. And then here I'm going to change the ID of the check button, which is basically this particular button. So coming back to the index.html, so this is our button. So the ID of the button is actually check button. So I'm going to copy the ID name, coming back to the script.js, and here I'm going to replace it with the check button. Similarly, for this particular paragraph element, which is basically used to display the values, if I show you the final version of the application, that is this particular paragraph. So we need to copy the ID of the paragraph element. So for that, again, I need to come back to the index.html, and from here, I'm going to copy the ID of this particular paragraph element, which is the result message. So simply copy the ID name, which is result message. Coming back to the script.js, and here I'm going to paste the ID name, which is result message. Alright, so now we have the initialization of the HTML elements inside the variables. So now we can actually perform the calculation. So first I'm going to add the listener to this particular check ptn. So check button, add event listener. So I'm going to add the listener, which is the click listener. So here I will be calling a function. So function, like it's actually a function. I'm going to define here a function directly. All right, inside this particular like the add event listener. So here first I need to create a variable which is like const number, because first we need to deal with the numbers. That is why, because whatever value we are actually getting it from the input type, we need to actually parse it to the number, because that value is actually in a form of text. So we need to convert it into integer by using the parseInt function, that is this particular one. And inside this we need to actually pass the value of the number. So the value of the number, which is this particular input type, the value of the input type, which is a number input, that is this particular variable, because now we have the initialization of this particular input type. to this particular variable. So with the use of this variable, we can now get the value of the number input. So number input dot value. Alright. So with the use of this particular line of the code, we can now get the value of the number. If I actually here use the console log dot console log, and here if I actually simply going to print the value of the number, simply here terminate it and simply control save it. And if I open a console by pressing the F12 key, and if I enter here any value and click on check, then you can see we are now able to get the value 5. If I enter here a different value, then you can see we get the 565. That means we are successfully able to get the value inside this number variable, and we have checked it with the use of the console log statement. So now I'm going to remove this console log statement from here. And the next thing is we need to actually add here some conditions, because right now if I show you the final version, if it is like empty, if I click it, then we want to show this particular error message that the number is not valid, because right now the input type is empty. So that is why we need to display this particular message. So for that we need to add here some conditions. So for adding a condition, I will be here using the if statement. So if, then to start its like body, then starting its block of the code, and then here I need to check for the is nan. So if it is not a number, right? So first we need to check for the number. So if it is not a valid number, then here I need to simply update the result message dot. So text content is equal to, and here I'm going to display the message, which is like, please enter a valid number. Okay. And after that, I need to change the result of the message, which is result message style dot color is equal to, and here I need to set it to red. Right. And then I need to here like set it with the return, because once it is not a valid number, then I need to here simply return from the block of the code. Alright, so if I control save it, and now if I check it, then you can say please enter a valid number. We are successfully able to see it. Alright, next what we want to do it here, we actually want to add one more condition. So if it is a valid number, then we want to here call a is prime function. So is prime, and this is going to actually hold a parameter which is the number that we're actually getting it from the input type. So we need to create this particular function. So outside of this particular check button code, that is this particular add event listener check ptn code. So here it is actually ending here. At the end of this, we need to create the is prime function. So is prime, that is this particular function, we need to create it. Now this particular function is going to accept one parameter, so I'm going to write it here short. But before completing this particular function, I'm going to here complete these if statements. So the first one is actually used to actually get the result message. So here I'm going to copy these 2 lines of the code and pasting it to save a little bit of time. So again, we need to update the text content, but at this point of time, I'm going to use the template string, and then I'm going to use here a dollar, then pair of curly brackets. So I'm going to here display a number, the number that we have entered inside the input type, and then we need to here use the is a prime number. Alright, and then we need to change the color to actually green. And similarly in the else part, what we want to do, we want to paste these 2 statements again, copy it, paste it, and here we just need to simply enter is not a number, and then we need to change the color to red. Alright, so these 2 lines of the code will actually gives us whether the number is prime or not. Now it's time to add the code inside this particular is prime function. So here, coming back to the is prime function, the first line of the code that I want to enter here, like if, like I need to start the body of the code. So if num is actually smaller than or equals to 1, then I'm going to actually enter a single statement, because it is a simple single statement. So here I'm going to return false, because if a number is smaller than 1 or a 0, it is actually not a prime number. Okay, and also we need to check for the condition. So if number is actually smaller than or equal to 3, which is 2 or 3, then in that case it is actually a prime number, because 2 and 3 are actually prime numbers. So return true. And then we need to add the conditions for the rest of the numbers, which is like if number, that is the value that we're actually getting it from the input type, that is this particular one. So if it is number modulus 2. So if it is equals to 0, or if num modulus 3, if it is equals to 0. So in that case, it is like return false. Alright, and rest of the case is going to be true. So return true. So what does it mean? Like if suppose we have entered here a 4 number, so 4 divided by 2 is actually going to return us a 0. So that means the 4 is not a prime number. So if 5 modulus 2, that means the remainder is actually equals to 1. So that means the condition is going to be false. So it is going to return true, and that means the 5 is going to be the prime number. So this is how the logic is actually working. Because 2 and 3 are the smallest numbers that are actually prime, although 2 is a even number, but still it is going to be a prime number as per the mathematics rules. And also 3 is like a odd number, but still it is the most smallest number, which is a prime number. Alright, and that is why we have actually used this particular logic to calculate it. If a number is actually entirely divisible by 2 and 3, either one of the condition is actually true, then it's going to return false. Alright, so that is why we have added this particular logic. I hope you get the point how this logic is working. Suppose if we have entered here a 7, then this particular number is actually a prime number. So you can see 7 is a prime number. So 7 modulus 2, like going to return us a 1. That means the condition it gets false. So that's why it's going to return the true, and 7 is actually a prime number. So that is how our logic is actually working. Right? So if I enter here a 6, then you can see 6 is not a prime number because it is completely divisible by this particular condition. Alright? So that is how our logic is working to calculate the prime number, or either it is not a prime number. Alright? So that marks the completion of this particular lecture. So if you like this lecture, then leave your review, because your review motivates me to create more awesome and unique content like this. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much.